So here we are, a new Smash Bros. Game is on the horizon once again, this time for the Nintendo Switch. And if there's one thing that fans of the series love to do possibly more than actually enjoy playing the game itself, is think of who should join the roster of playable characters, myself included. So of course, like any personal top 10 video, these are of course my opinions on the matter and my opinion alone. I'm certain there will be disagreements on who should be included and who shouldn't. Feel free to leave your own personal choices or even your own top 10 in the comments below. With that out of the way, let's begin the Smash for Switch list with the Smash for Switch wish list. The Smash for Switch wish list. Stuff we want for Smash. Nintendo has been making interesting choices in terms of IP lately. The Wii U brought us Splatoon, and very early in the life cycle of the Switch, we got a new fighting game in ARMS. Being the new kid on the block, I think it will grant it a near surefire inclusion into Smash Bros. In some shape or form, and will also show how serious they are about adding it to their pantheon. The obvious picks here would be someone like Springman or Ribbon Girl, but I think there's room here to include one or two different characters from this series. Sticking with the JRPGs, Golden Sun I think is a relatively underappreciated gem from the GBA era. I say underappreciated in the sense that the series has laid dormant since Dark Dawn, and that itself received some mixed reception. Even so, Isaac from Golden Sun would be a great way to represent the series. Smash Bros. Has on several occasions brought characters back to the forefront that either weren't exposed in other markets like Fire Emblem, or were put aside from the NES era, like Ice Climbers or Kid Icarus. Maybe it's a little optimistic to think that Isaac's inclusion would spur a revival of the franchise, but hey, I'd even be okay with a retelling or a reimagining of the story at this rate. It's a game world that's worth being explored again, and would give Nintendo a core RPG franchise of their own to build around. Either way, I would love to see Isaac as a playable character. I didn't think we would ever see a Smash Bros. Game where we would get to see Cloud from FF7 as a playable character, but hey, that's what we got, and I'm not complaining. With that in mind though, Chrono from Chrono Trigger I think would be a great character to include, as it's a classic JRPG that made its debut on a Nintendo console, the SNES. If you haven't played Chrono Trigger already, I highly suggest it. It's considered one of the best RPGs of all time, and it's right near the top of my own personal list as well. Yeah, I can hear it already though. Oh, we don't need another anime swordsman, we got too many, look at all the Fire Emblem. Shut up! I don't care. The Chrono series doesn't get enough love as it is, so let us have this one, okay? Okay. Alright, we're cool. It's no secret that Nintendo in recent console generations has had an issue with third-party publishers. I can't honestly think of all that many games that came out during the Wii U lifespan that were designed outside of Nintendo, aside from a few notable exceptions. It makes it all the more notable that early in the Switch's life cycle that Nintendo has seemed to develop a relationship with Bethesda. Between Skyrim, Doom, and Wolfenstein all being released on the Switch, I could see this new budding relationship turn into a character spot in Smash. Personally, I would choose the Doomslayer, i.e. the Doom guy, to represent Bethesda, just between the connection to a classic FPS game that has a bit more recognition than Wolfenstein, and actually is a character. You could probably do something like the Dovahkiin based on the usual imagery we see of them, but considering that it's all based around making your own character, I can't really see that happening. Also, Doomguy has a pretty massive arsenal to pull from, for movesets and like a final Smash like the BFG. He feels like an unconventional but suitable pick for Smash. There is no denying the success of Shovel Knight, an indie darling that took a whole bunch of mechanics from the 8-bit era of 2D platformers and rolled it up into a new but also somehow familiar feeling package. There's also no denying the 8-bit charm of the game itself. It's only really natural that Shovel Knight should join Smash because it would be alongside some of the games that helped inspire its creation. It would also be great to see Shovel Knight in its full HD glory. Castlevania is another classic series that made its start on a Nintendo console. There are a few potential candidates here that could represent the franchise, like Alucard, but Simon Belmont is the one who started it all. With his trademark whip and arsenal of side weapons like the Holy Water, that boomerang shuriken thing, and axe, I feel like he already has his moveset made for Smash. It would also be another great classic character from Nintendo's early consoles to bring back to the forefront. Now, just try to get Konami on board. I mean, you already did it with Snake, so it shouldn't be too bad, right? There's going to be no surprise when we see that a new Pokemon from Sun and Moon is going to be included as a playable character in Smash. The only real trick here is to decide which Pokemon should fill that slot. I think there are loads of potential strong candidates for the position, but I would personally choose Decidueye. Aside from the fact that it was the starter I chose in my game, I do think it has a unique moveset from the rest of the Pokemon that some other choices might not. Another candidate like Marshadow would probably play similarly to Lucario, for instance. I do think this is honestly a tougher choice to make, since there are quite a few I could see going in the spot, like Golisopod, Tapu Koko, Lycanroc, Salazzle, or Serena, but I think being a starter Pokemon is a good shoo-in for Decidueye to get the spot. Please! 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 Yeah, it's kind of hard to hide my bias here, but I absolutely love Donkey Kong Country. Donkey Kong Country 1 was pretty much the first video game I even remember playing, and it's a pretty good place to start, I think. I've been a loyal fan ever since, and even back in the N64 days, I wrote into Nintendo Power magazine for one of their questions of the month. Who would you want to see in the next Super Smash Bros? I chose King K. Rool. Yeah, at this point his inclusion feels like a bit of a long shot, but it doesn't really change my opinion on it. I would even be happy with someone like Dixie Kong being included, especially since she returned in Tropical Freeze. But again, it doesn't really change my vote here. My personal vote here is for K. Rool. It's pretty crazy how one game can completely change the outlook for a video game series. Sonic the Hedgehog, to put it mildly, wasn't doing so hot. After a string of 3D platformers ranging from just kinda good to, oh my god, burn it with fire! It was getting hard to see if there was any bright spot left for Sonic. But then Sonic Mania happened. It was a game designed by Sonic fans for Sonic fans, and has reinvigorated the hopes that Sonic still has a place in gaming. That's why I think the inclusion of Knuckles and Tails makes loads more sense now. The idea probably could have been floated around before, but with the success of a more classic 2D Sonic, I could see their inclusion as not just more likely, but a good way to bring them back closer to their original designs. Sonic isn't the only one who has suffered from these terrible games.
You gotta lift weights, eat red meat, take up woodworking. That's what they want.
Yeah, let's just forget about that. With countless Game of the Year titles under its belt, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is something that you could safely say has been a success. It took the series' time-tested formula and put it aside in some regards to reinvigorate the franchise. It should come as no surprise then that characters from this new game should also make an appearance. The champions from Breath of the Wild all bring something different to the table, and the toughest part about them being on the list is picking only one to be included. I could see an argument where all four could be included, but I feel like it would inflate the Zelda cast a bit too much.
Never mind. Forget I said anything.
If I had to choose one, I would say maybe Daruk, since we don't have nearly as many heavy characters in Smash, but it's hard to see where only one of them is playable. Maybe it could be done as DLC over time? Maybe. Either way, I would be happy to see one or all of them included as characters in Smash, and that's why the champions are my top pick. Well, that about does it for this Wundervideo Top 10. I do want to thank you for watching. It's been a big learning process starting these videos here on YouTube, and I hope to continue to improve and refine with each new video. If you have any suggestions or ideas for future videos, be sure to leave that in the comments below. Also be sure to leave your own personal top 10 for characters you would like to see in Smash. And of course, be sure to like and subscribe to Wundervideo for more content on movies and gaming. See ya!